Today I'm going to show you how to take your weaving off of your loom. First of all, I suggest ending your yarn somewhere in the middle of your loom so that your last piece of yarn isn't hanging off the edge. So what you can do is finish weaving the last bit of your yarn into your weaving, and then you can cut off the yarn from the needle. And you can tuck this in. We'll worry about fixing our little knots after we're all done with taking our weaving off the loom. The first thing you want to do is you can work with a partner if you want, but it doesn't really matter how far you wove because you will be tying it right up to wherever you ended. The first step is flipping over your loom and cutting all the string in the middle. Then what you can do is pull the string down and push it up. And you have a mess of string right now. What you want to do is you don't want to mess around too much with your artwork. You want to start tying it off right away. You can have a partner help you if you'd like, but what you need to do is take your first 2 strings and tie them in a knot. So I'm going to cross the pieces. So there's a crisscross. The one that's on top, I'm going to bring under and through the hole. Tie it fairly tight, but not too tight, just so it goes up to the yarn. There's your first knot, and then tie another knot. Cross the yarn one over the other. The one that's over, bring under and through, and tie again. You need at least 2 knots, so it needs to be double knotted. We'll worry about trimming this off later, the excess string. Grab my next 2, crisscross, under and through, and knot. Crisscross, under and through, and knot. Keep on working all the way down to the very end. You can see that the end is starting to get a little bit loose, and that's okay. And you might have 3 strings at the very end. So what you should do is tie the first 2 together. So that you have your regular knot. And then think of this as 1 string and take your last one and tie it together. Don't pull too tight. You don't want to pull your string out from your weaving, so don't pull too tight. Sometimes also it's helpful if you leave your weaving on the board as you're working, because then you can take 1 string off at a time and untangle it and then tie it. So once you have all this done, then you will do the other side as well, so that you can tie everything together. If your pieces are getting a little tangled, you can cut some of the excess off, but don't cut too close to your actual weaving because that can cause things to fall apart. Once you have your weaving completely off of your loom and you tied all of your knots gently, what you can do is trim off some of the tassels, and you can ask for help. What I might do is actually put this on here where I want it to be, just as a guideline, and then I can trim everything underneath, pulling it tight. And you might want a partner to hold this down to hold your loom in place, your weaving on your loom, and then you can cut by pulling this pretty tight. you can cut your tassels so they're a little bit shorter. You can decide how long you want them. These ones are a little bit too long, so I should trim these too. Want about this much of a length. Place it down. As someone's holding it, you can cut. And that looks a little bit nicer. Now, depending on what you want to be the front, what you'll want to do is tuck all of your knots through to the back. So you can do that just by pushing it through, wiggling it through, and then pulling it from the back so that it sticks out in the back, and then you can close your weaving again. So there we have our beautiful woven rugs, or this could be a bookmark, ready to go. I can also tuck these strings to the back too, any extra little string that's hanging off. I can push it through using my needle if I want to. You can push it through to the back. There we go. So we should have one smooth side without any lumps or bumps.